So, sorry, we had some technical difficulties, but to continue where we left off, we were sort of talking about this transition from the second house into the third house with this idea of Pisces being based spiritually and being a lot about going within and sort of trusting your intuition. And this is sort of asking you to do the opposite on this journey into January. It's sort of asking you to be more physical, to sort of enjoy and accept this physical experience. And in ways, this is here to sort of help you connect with others on this journey and sort of find that balance. Because as Pisces sort of walks on this spiritual dream state sort of level of awareness, it's sort of asking you to balance the two. So spiritually and physically, sort of bringing those two parts of yourself sort of together on this path. And as we move, getting deeper into this third house, this is still at the beginning of January, sort of dealing with not reacting emotionally, not sort of expressing your thoughts and feelings and sort of acting on them. So this is sort of asking you to be more logical and go about things in a more organized and a more knowledge-based sort of way, sort of getting all your facts, all your details, gathering all your knowledge, and especially sort of being open to the wisdom and the knowledge that others are willing to give, as well as, again, we are sort of dealing with this third house as we're starting to transition into the fourth house, is this idea of it being Gemini ruled, this idea of communication and networking, this way of sort of connecting to others to help you learn and adapt as you're moving forward. So sort of just getting out of this idea of this spiritually based side of you. Definitely as Pisces, a lot of you have mastered this. You sort of walk around in this dream state. Unless you have some strong earth-based placements in your chart, a lot of you typically are going to be more on the dreamy side, more on the spiritual side, more sort of aware of things on an intuitive level. So this is kind of asking you to be aware of things on a physical level as well. So sort of merging the two together, finding this sense of balance and being spiritual, but also being physical. And this may be an uncomfortable spot for you. Again, going back to this Page of Pentacles, sort of this idea that you have what you need, but you don't really understand it. You're being nurtured, you're being cared for. It's on a very physical sort of level. So this is sort of you changing and growing and sort of finding this way to externalize this inner power that you have, this deep power within yourself that's very much on an intuitive, psychic sort of level, very highly emotionally based. You're very connected to the moon. So this is sort of asking you to not act emotionally, not to react to things as you're moving into January, especially with some of these challenging aspects, as 2019 is a number 3 year, dealing with new beginnings. And as we're starting new and fresh with things, something that has to occur is this sense of release, this sense of letting go of old things. And this goes along with this theme of North Node in Cancer, this idea of With North Node in Cancer, you have Capricorn South Node. So this sense of releasing of old rules and laws and restrictions and systems and sort of ways of believing and limiting belief systems and thoughts, these reoccurring thoughts and these feelings that sort of attach you to the past, attach you to mistakes, to emotional points in time. So it's sort of just asking you to not react emotionally during this process of releasing, this process of growing, of changing, of sort of accepting another side of yourself, sort of merging these two parts of who you are together. And there's a lot to be learned from your polar opposite, Virgo, as Virgo is highly physical, this very physical earth sign ruled by Mercury. So it has this sense of practicality and organization, this level of intelligence that is very earth based. It's very much about organizing and planning and getting all the details and sort of analyzing things and really thinking things through before acting on them. So, with that, just sort of adding that element to you, which, if you are a Pisces rising, then that puts Virgo on your descendant. And as we talk about the birth chart in astrology, when you look at these placements, the ascendant is sort of what I would call your ego. It's like this mask, this persona that you wear, this sort of way of projecting who you are. And it's based on how you sort of see yourself in the world around you. Now, when you look at the descendant, we start to get into the house of Libra. This is on the cusp of the 7th house, which deals with relationships and partnerships and marriage. So when you sort of get to the descendant, which would be Virgo, this is where this sort of aspect of how others see you. So as you, yes, for yourself, as you are very spiritually and emotionally and intuitive based, others are sort of seeing this part of you that's more physical, more giving, more nurturing, more practical. And this is a side of you that you're sort of being called to bring into the picture, especially moving into this new year of 2019, which is going to be heavily dealing with the aspects of Capricorn and Cancer. This idea of working hard and getting things done, but in a new way, bringing in this sense of unity, this trust, this intuition, this sense of compassion and caring. So this is sort of getting you away from these old ideas, this old version of who you are, and sort of bringing this new aspect into play. And moving forward, as we start to get into your 4th house, if you look at the cusp of your 4th house, this is Pisces ruled. This is this sort of hidden inner child in you. This deals with your past, your home, your family. And this is deeply emotional. This is Cancer based. This is ruled by Cancer. So this is heavily emotional, getting into your past. And here you're seeing there's a lot of blindness, there's a lot of overthinking, there's a lot of struggle here. And this is sort of getting you to this point of releasing and sort of going with the flow, moving forward. So this idea of getting rid of these old thoughts, these old ways of doing things, these old belief systems is still sort of in the picture here. And this idea of sort of walking blindly and just following emotion versus actually thinking things out is not necessarily a good way to go about this process. This is requiring you to do some thinking, to sort of go within yourself and sort of deal with this aspect of life that you're going through in this process of releasing and letting go. And this is going to be a hardship, a struggle that requires a certain level of strength. And that is something that you will see on this journey for you moving forward. And even as we move forward, starting to get into your fifth house here, the Strength card comes up in reverse. This idea of, yeah, this does require some strength. This does require some confidence, some perseverance, even some motivation, help from others. As the fifth house is an Leo ruled house. So this is sort of getting into this aspect of having passion and strength and integrity behind your actions.